So, how y'all doing? Today I'm gonna talk about my adoption. For many that don't know, I was adopted from Incheon, South Korea. Um, Adoption to me was, uh, when I was younger, really nothing. I didn't really think anything of it. I was uh, I was adopted from Incheon from an orphanage when I was 3 years old. My mother uh, had me and left me in the hospital before she could name me or before the nurses or whoever could find out anything. I stayed in the orphanage till I was 2 until my wonderful family adopted me. Um, Growing up at an early younger age, I didn't really think too much of it. Do remember when they told me I probably was like 5 or 6, and I do remember him telling me that in my head, thinking like, wasn't these are not my parents, and it was just a crazy weird change in my mind. I just remember I can't really describe it. But as I got older in my teens, 10, 11, 12, I started uh, always comparing myself to other families. Like I would go to my friend's house and I would see what their parents let them get away with or what their parents got them. And if my parents didn't do it, I felt it was because I was adopted. So I was always, I guess I just felt that I didn't fit in because I was always comparing what I thought was normal with other families to mine. I was 10 years old. I remember when my neighbor my dad was stationed in Korea. My neighbor was an adopted girl from Korea, and she was, from what I hear, crazy. She had been through a lot. And the guy had sent her back to the orphanage, you know? And I remember sitting there thinking, and I remember I was crying, and I went back to my dad, my mom, and I told them, don't ever send me back. That was always a fear for me. And I was don't send me back. I know I'm bad sometimes, but don't send me back. And they promised not to, and they kept their word. But growing up, I guess, when I got older and I really did some introspection of myself, I realized a lot of things about myself and why I was the way I was. Like I said, growing up, I compared myself to other families. I distanced myself with my parents. I didn't accept them, even though I would live with them. I was a pain in the ass. I mean, fighting with them and disrespecting them, I was pretty bad. And they really held it in the long haul. I got to give them that. But being adopted has been a blessing to me. I'm not going to say I'm glad. I'm glad my mom gave me. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't love the way I love, and I wouldn't care for the things I care for if it hadn't not been for that. Who knows? Quick funny story. I actually got to go back to the orphanage when I was 10 years old, 11 years old, and I walked on there, and all the little kids, they're all ran up to me, like brother, 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 brother. It was kind of cool. I look over and there's this little house on the side, and this old lady comes out. And she was a nun. I guess she was like a volunteer there or something, and she was hysterical. She was happy to see me and everything. I don't remember her, but she showed me a picture of her, of me at my youngest age. Yeah, I think I was 1. And my mother now was like, oh, he's always in trouble and da 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 da. And she was like, I know. Every time I would turn around, he was gone. He'd run. And the police around the corner would always walk me back to the orphanage. But she had a picture of me, and all I had was a shirt on. And literally, that's it in the alley. Pee-pee hang out and everything. And she was real happy to see me. I wish I could have go back and wish she was, I don't know if she's still alive. I'd say thank you. I had, I guess, developed a really bad sickness. I had kidneys infections, all kind of stuff in that orphanage. I wouldn't say from the orphanage, but they weren't really, up there with stuff, I guess. And she took me in personally and raised me till I was 2, and then my parents, came and got me. But I wish I could tell her thank you. My parents found my real mom. They scheduled a meeting I told him no. I didn't want to meet her because I didn't want her to see me and, try to rip me apart from the parents that I had. I accepted them, and that was it. Part of me wishes I did meet her, and most of it, actually, I don't give a shit. Uh, she told my parents not for me never to find her again anyways. But, my parents now, I put them through hell, and they never sent me back. And growing up, I think that's probably how I got into. Well, it's one reason I probably joined gangs that I think about it, or found something. I just wanted acceptance. I think that's the biggest problem with any teenager is acceptance. Just caring what people think and trying to feel something. But you got to realize sometimes if you really look deep into yourself, you have to realize what you already have. And if you already have something, you just don't realize it. You take advantage of it. I never really learned what I really had till 5 years ago, and I'm 34. So, it took a long time for me to transition in my mind to accept and appreciate things. But, you know, when you get a chance to sit down and you get a chance to really think about yourself and your life and you admit these things to yourself, you'll learn a lot about yourself, and you work on it. And, me being, I cared too much. I cared too much what people thought, and I wanted to belong to something. And my parents would always ask me to do things with them, and I was embarrassed to do things with them. And I guess I don't know. It's an immature way of thinking, but I regret it. I regret a lot of things. So, yeah. That's part of my adoption story. I could go on forever, but that's just the part I wanted to share. All right.